Hi and welcome to my channel Modern Modiste. In today's video I'll be making a matching jacket and skirt set to celebrate spring. So I'm going to be making my matching jacket and skirt set with this material here. I picked it up from the fabric store today. It was on the remnants table and it's only 1 3/8 fabric here. So I'm hoping that's enough to complete my project. And I'm going to be using the pattern I made in my DIY fuzzy blue coat video. I'll link it. I'm using the first pattern I started with in that video before I extended my pattern and did all the extra cuts. And the sleeve for that, I'm going to start with the jacket. So let's get to it. For the jacket, I cut the front to be 2 inches shorter than my pattern and added 3 inches to the inner edges. I also cut 2 inches from the bottom of the back, then I lined up the shoulders of the fronts and back and sewed them together. I finished the edges by sewing bias tape over the raw edges. Next, I folded my sleeve in half and lined up the center of the sleeve with the shoulder seam. Then pinned the rest of the sleeve to the armhole and sewed the sleeve on. Again, I sewed bias tape onto the raw edge to finish the edges and repeat it with the other sleeve. Then I folded over my jacket to line up the sleeves and sides. I pinned and sewed from the armhole. Down the sleeves and then again from the armhole down the sides. I trimmed any excess fraying and finished my raw edge with the bias tape again. Next, I marked again my 3 inches from each edge where I'd fold the front inner edges in. Then I added this single fold bias tape to the neckline, right sides facing. I folded the bias tape to the inside of the jacket and sewed it down along the top and bottom edge. While at my machine, I decided to quickly hem the sleeves with a double fold. Then I hem the inner edges of my jacket, folding in the fabric twice so that the line I marked was along the edge. Since this fabric is so thick, it would have been better to fold it in 1/2 inch and then the inch instead of folding it 1 inch and then 1 inch as I did to reduce bulk. Next, I hemmed the bottom with a hefty double fold. Again, to reduce bulk in thicker fabrics, it would be better for the first fold under to only be 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch and then the full width of the hem. I marked where I wanted my buttonholes and buttons to go. Then, with one of my buttons in the buttonhole foot, I sewed my buttonholes along those marks. I used a sewing pin as a stopper and a seam ripper to rip open my buttonholes. Then sewed my buttons on. Now onto the skirt. Here's how I measured my fabric cuts for the skirt. My skirt fabric is 2.5 inches wider than my waistband, so I'm going to add 2 darts to the front of my skirt. To do that, I folded my skirt in half to find the center, and then fold it in half again to find the 1/4 and 3/4 marks of the top edge. Next, I folded the edges in on the 1/4 and 3/4 marks. I divided 2.5, which is the difference between my waistband and my skirt edge, by 4, which was 0.62, and marked that across the top, and then marked 7 inches down the sides. I drew a slanted line connecting the 2 marks and sewed along those lines to create my darts. I did the same thing with the other side. Next, the right sides facing, I sewed the waistband fabrics together and the skirt fabrics together along one side. Then I lined up the edge of my waistband with the top edge of my skirt and sewed my waistband to my skirt. I went and added bias tape to the raw edge of my skirt just below my waistband seam. Next, I hemmed the top edges of the waistband. To add the zipper, I folded the waistband in half and measured from that fold down the length of my zipper and marked. I'm going to sew the skirt together from that mark down, but first I added bias tape to each raw edge starting just below the waistband seam. After adding the bias tape, I pinned my two sides together and sewed from the mark down to the bottom edge of the skirt. I pinned my zipper to my skirt, folding over the waistband like this. Using a zipper foot, I sewed the zipper to the skirt. After making sure my zipper was working properly, I folded in half the rest of the waistband and sewed in place. To finish the skirt, I hemmed the bottom edge. And that completes this project. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned for my next video. Bye.